Welcome to Most Famous, where we are not. And today we are speaking one of the most popular behind the scenes creators of the creator space. He's been in multiple of one of the most popular creator groups in the world right now, AMP. And he's also created one of the best stream series of 2025, the award nominated Caretaker series. He has written scripts, created worlds, and has multiple viral and successful creative ideas. He's a creator, an artist, a songwriter, and the creative director of one of the biggest streamers of the world, AimHigh. Welcome to the show.
Damn! I don't know if I can cuss on. Hey, that's a solid intro. That's a nice intro. Thank you, bro. That is definitely. You had me blushing over your pause. You had me over here like, damn. Okay, who is that guy that he's talking about? That's me.
Hell yeah, I'm talking with him.
Damn, bro. Thank you so much for the intro. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for wanting to talk to me. I get excited anytime somebody want to have conversation, and then if it's conversation about content, I'm even more geek. So
same, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you having me on, man. I'm lucky to be here.
Hell yeah, of course, man. I'm so excited. All right, so the first thing I want to get into, Aim, obviously, I kind of want you to introduce yourself. I want to know how you got into the creator industry and where did this like creative ambition kind of come from and stem from?
Yeah, I feel like my real name is Jake. But yeah, I go as AimHigh on the internet, and I probably got into this space, man, I want to say like 2000. Like I think my Twitch account was like created in 2015, and I think my my first stream is in like 2017.
Ooh, okay.
And then, you know, from there, it was kind of like, okay, like I did it, I think in 2017, just kind of was like, oh, I wanted to try this, you know, because I think I was playing like, you know, I was playing like NBA 2K, Fortnite, just the normal things I feel like people were playing back then and thinking, you know, I'm as good as these people, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? And you know, I did that and I thought that. And so
you wanted to be a streamer first?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to be a streamer first, but really what happened in that, in just it was more like I wanted to be a streamer as like a hobby though at first, because right around that time in 2017, 2018, I ended up really just falling in love with film. Like I worked at this nuclear power plant and I was in the Navy prior. So I was doing security for this nuke plant, and it was like this kind of job where, I mean, it's serious because it's a nuclear power plant, right? But at the same time, like just the nature of kind of that type of security, you're stationed in certain places for hours, right? And you know, it's kind of like one of those things where obviously you got to be vigilant, but you know, hey, if you want to pop on a TV show or a movie, we'd rather have you do that than fall asleep. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Most of the time is probably calm, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things where that time for me was just really, it was really boring and mundane. And I had dreams and I was creative and I had played drums growing up and like I loved music, and it was kind of almost like it was good salary, good benefits, right? But it just like, bro, what I am in my core, which is a creative and an artist, like it didn't feed that. And instead it made me sit almost like torture and watch things where it was like, damn, I could create that, or I could. So in that time, yeah, I did fall in love with streaming, but I started, but I really fell in love with film and like making movies and wanted to do that. And so that eventually led me to quit that job. And I moved back to Seattle, where I was in the Navy at, and I went to film school. And that's when I was like, well, the military is paying for me to go to school and kind of paying my rent. And, you know, this is probably a little bit on the side. Like I probably would need to do some type of extra labor for some food or something. But other than that, like my shit's going to be paid for. So I could probably stream, you know what I'm saying? Right. A lot. And so that's the year 2018. I was going to film school. I met a certain man by the name of Agent 00. And we just started gaming together. I remember he was, he was either a little bit under, he's probably a little bit under 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I really was watching his YouTube videos for like jump shot tutorials, like jump, you know what I'm saying? On 2K, what were the best jump shots? You know what I'm saying? And at one of the end of his videos, he had he had like yo, I'm going to be live on Facebook streaming games. If you want to pop over there, you know what I'm saying? This is going to be where I'm going to be at. Right. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like, All right, bet. Like, and I went over there. Sure enough, he was live, but he wasn't playing 2K. He was playing Apex Legends, and that game had just come out. Hey, can you know what I'm saying? You want to play or whatever? And this on Facebook. Come to find out, he's one of the first streamers to ever get a deal on Facebook to stream. And this motherfucker's like streaming. I'm not trolling, streaming to like 25 people on Facebook.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. His chat must not have been flying.
Bro, and I'm like, yo, you trying to play? And he look at my chat and he see me and bro, this motherfucker on Facebook. So he say at the time I already know like shit on Facebook. Like, so he say my full government, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Jacob, like, send me your shit. So I sent him, we played, we liked it, we dominated, we had some fun, and then it was just gaming from there ever since. And then, fast forward like probably closer to 2019, he had talked about AMP and creating this thing, and knew that I went to film school and doing this stuff. I was like, yo, if you ever would come down and help, like, we would love to have you. And eventually, dude, I just made that leap to move to Atlanta and try to help out any way that I could. And it just led to so many dope behind the scenes things, where it led to creating whole videos sometimes, to just being a cameraman, to ending up being a host, and then being more in the videos. And
did agency AMP what it is now? Like this huge, massive group?
Yeah, I mean, I think to an extent, for sure. I think, anytime you go into something like that, especially with those type of personalities, because I think, people, it's easy to forget, I think, where they were. Really, Chris was the only person that wasn't like, oh, I have my own platform of something that is big, right? So, I mean, when they created it, they knew that, okay, it's going to be something, and we have the potential, just because of what we've done on our own. If we, merge forces, like, we could really make this thing pop. So I think from the beginning, they knew that they could make it what it is. You know what I'm saying? I think it was just a matter of being able to have the consistency and really the passion overall, just loving what you do to keep going, and the teamwork, you know what I'm saying, to be able to work with everybody. Because that's an underrated thing too. I think, when you're in a group and you got 6 people who are, well, you and five other people who have made real significant content and garnered viewership for it, doing something a certain way, to be able to let your ego kind of, go in certain situations and say, hey, like, let's try it his way, or let's try, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a super underrated aspect of, I think, what AMP is and what they've become and how they've gotten to where they are. I think is a big proponent, and a big slice of the pie is they're able to work together in the midst of being really good at everything that they do individually. They're down to collaborate. And I think, I think having that in your head and knowing like, okay, like, if I just trust the process, the sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying? And I think they always kind of knew that it would pop. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they would tell you like, oh, like, yes, we saw this specific, we're coming out with Tone, you know what I'm saying? But but I think they knew that it would be big. From there, with working with them, it just, I mean, it kind of went into for a while, my own streaming path and my own entertainment path, but it's always kind of been about what can I do to put myself in position to maybe do film later on in life. You know what I'm saying? And eventually it just got to one of those, I think, and I wouldn't even say forks in the road, because I don't think it was like like, if you don't do this, you're never going to do film or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it was just one of those things where I felt like in life, it was like, yo, do I keep, streaming as consistently as I am and putting out content for me, or do I revert back kind of a little bit and do what I think is in my nature anyway, with what I want to do as a director, you know what I'm saying? And just be behind the scenes. And so I kind of, probably I would say like the end of 2024, early 2025 kind of started that process of like switching over, and I got connected with this gaming organization that wanted to change at the time and wanted to do some stuff. And so they actually were the first people to kind of hire me as a creative director. And I started kind of, teaching them things that I thought were good, and how to kind of separate themselves from orgs and be a little bit different. And then that really didn't work out as well as I hoped it would, just because I learned very quickly that you know, because A&P really the only people I'd worked with up to that point,
Right.
and then individual creators. So I never worked with like a gaming org before. And, you know, I just learned very quickly that it's like, yo, like, all right, kind of similarly to my time in the military, the Navy, where it's like, it's just a board game you got to play. Like you got to play within these rules, and there's a corporate side and there's a suit side.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And it's interesting. And, you know, and I think that for me is like kind of counterintuitive to the way that I do and create and think about content. And so ultimately, like that just never really worked out. But in the midst of that, I was creating a show for them before I had left.
Like for the team, for the gaming team.
Yeah, for the gaming team, I was creating a show for them for like Twitch and YouTube and a bunch of other stuff. And I had got these people to be in this show and to host the show. And it was like I had a meeting with them at DreamCon, and so I go and I meet with DreamCon, and one of them's like, "Yo, can you know, can Rage pull up?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." Like, you know, me and Rage had known each other for a while and had, you know, done content together, and even at DreamCon, we're used to seeing each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was just kind of like a no brainer. Like, yeah, bring him over. You know, and he came over, and then we started talking, and eventually I let him know. I was like, yo, like this is kind of what I'm doing right now. And he was kind of like, would you ever do that for me?
Mm.
And you know, I was like, yeah, I think it would just depend on like what it would look like if you need it like that, you know. And we kind of just, it was more like, you know, I think we just need to have some real hard conversations about like what it is you want, and then what it is I can provide, and see if after we do that, if we are still on the same page of what that looks like, and all that, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
he eventually was just like, yeah, bro, I'll fly you to Chicago. I'm about to have knee surgery. And when I get done with my surgery, we can just like talk in the B&B where I'm going to heal up. And I was like, all right, bet. Sure enough, man, I walked in there and he was in bed, knees just, hey, legs straight out, you know what I'm saying? Couldn't move. And we talked, you know what I'm saying? And that was the start, probably in June, of me being his creative director, and we haven't looked back since. And so that's kind of led us up to this point now.
Right. Do you
So
think
yeah.
Rage was kind of in a point in time where he kind of needed a little bit more direction, or?
Yeah, I think, you know, anytime, you know, you look at someone, you know, career, and you're able to kind of zoom out a little bit and really check, you know, everything that they've been through, and then maybe zoom in on some spots that aren't zoomed in on a lot, and check details that aren't just like people just don't think about a lot. And I think, you know, the idea is like, you know, Rage is 28, but you know, he started doing this when he was like 17. You know, with the YouTube and all this stuff. And so, you know, he really got into streaming, and, you know, really rise, I think, to Twitch stardom just in terms of his early 20s.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he's been doing it for a while. And I think at a certain point, you know, you see, if you're a good creator, at least I would say, you see like trends, you see like where like the internet is going. And, you know, I think for him, it was one of those things where, not like, okay, like I'm necessarily losing or falling out of love with this thing, but more so like I'm, you know, I'm kind of running out of things to do.
Right. A change
And
of pace. Right.
yeah, you know, and so for him, I think it was more so of a thing like, yo, I really just would love to have somebody where, you know, I don't have anxiety waking up every day where it's like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do on stream, because it's just like, I've done everything. I've you know, the things that I really wanted to do, like that I'm good at, like I just do all the time. So I think it was really brave actually of him to want to expand his palette as a streamer and as a creator, to be like, hey, like I want to know what else is out there. And if it's stuff that lines up with where I think the YRG brand, or, you know, Yourrage as a streamer should go, then I want to do that. And I want to, you know, make me, you know, I think it's just like a sports player, you know, like working on just a different type of his game or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't always just want to have one go-to move or one go-to thing. Like you know, you want to be an all-around kind of person. I think that is able to dip their toes in a lot of different places. Cause I think just in content creation, it makes more sense too, because you know, the all-around game and the different types of content are different, like subgroups, communities, and different people that would never watch you or
Right,
hear of
exactly.
you if you don't go and pursue those things. So for me, I think it was really awesome of him to want to do that. And then when we got to talk, it was a no-brainer. I think that we were going to work well together, and I think it's man, it's a Kobe and Shaq pairing. You know what I'm saying?
No, no
It's
doubt. No, fact.
fantastic.
Fact. I think that like, because a lot of these creators blow up at like teenagers, some of them in like
Yeah.
2022, and you can get to, you know, emotion of where you just do reactions, some IRL, and then like Discord segments, and you can ride that out and have really good viewership and strong community. But then to, you know, pivot, because if he would have paired with you, it could have been like a career suicide. Like you could have maybe misled him. His
Yeah,
YRG
for
might have
sure.
like fucked with you, and then y'all could have hurt him. But for Rage to take that leap, and I think it's been fantastic. I mean, we're gonna go throughout the interview, but like just doing research and seeing since Caretaker on, like it's been
Yeah.
straight belt, like banger segment, great collabs, and I think really strategic collabs from what y'all been doing. But
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
sweet. Yeah, it's sweet. I think it's amazing.
It's definitely one of those things where it's like, I think it's easier said than done, you know, because you're right. Like it's very much like, I think, I don't know, like people don't want to put a huge emphasis on it, because I think a lot of people don't know exactly how much money or how much influence or
Right.
you know what these streamers have on their brands.
No,
And you know, to just trust someone else with it is really like crazy, kind of, you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like
seriously, that's crazy.
so it's definitely a testament to him. And I think you know, and I think, like you said, the content that's been strategic, I mean, these are things that I feel like are just a testament to him, in terms of like, okay, like he was always kind of willing to go down an IRL road and more of a segment road. And I think low key, because his, you know, even his, I would say his content previous, not that I've strayed away, at least I don't believe I strayed away too much from it, but you know, his desktop, no face cam, all these things like really built up his character. Because it's not always like, you know, IRL, you can rely on so many actions just physically. You know what I'm saying? But when you're desktop, where specifically no face cam, you know, a lot of comedy has to come from your voice. And you know, and developing, like just being naturally funny, or having the inflection to just, it could be something so normal, but the way you say it, it's funny. You know what I'm saying? And all these things that, you know, he learned, I think, really actually prepared him to be an IRL streamer, if he just, you know, had someone to nudge him in the right areas, or be like, hey, like do this or do that. And so finally, I think when, we got paired up and stuff, and he was able to see a different side of IRL and understand like the impact of it and why you even do it in the first place, like, and learn those things. And then also learn, I think, what AMP was very good at and what I'm very good at, which is improv and just, you know, sketches and bits and things like that, and learn that kind of style of streaming. Bro, he was always going to home run it out of the park, because he's a great personality. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, facts. Now, could you take me inside of that meeting a little bit? Like, what did you pitch Yourrage on as a creative director that kind of you think stole them into?
I think for me, it was more so of, you know, like just a vision in terms of, you know, my plan and things that I felt like, you know, I would bring that somebody else that he might try to find in that position, like just probably wouldn't. And I think it was the nature of the way that I kind of sold him on the uniqueness of almost a, you know, instead of a, hey, like I'm come to you and you give me ideas, and then that's it. That's what we are. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I think is a very, at least I would imagine, I don't know, because I can only speak from my experience. My experiences aren't that, but I would imagine that that is most like creative director, content manager to like streamer relationship, is like, hey, what do you got for me? Boom, this is what I got. Okay, boom, and then it's over, right? To me, I was more so like, hey, like I'm kind of looking for someone that I can have a player coach relationship with. That, you know, like the hierarchy is more so lean, not that it's completely
like
one side, but it's a partnership, but it does lean to me in terms of vision and content. And if I can explain it to you and you can look at me and go, I understand it, and disagree with it, then we can have that conversation.
Right.
But to me, I felt like if I can explain it and you can understand it, you'll see why I want to do these things and you'll want to do them. And to me, that really sold him, just in terms of, one, like, I think he has a certain reading about himself that, I'm a unique streamer. I'm somebody that doesn't do things all the way by the book or whatever. And so I think that intrigued him just from that standpoint. Like, it's not going to be a traditional thing. And the way that I thought and planned was not traditional, because, I sold him on the fact that I felt like, and it was my course at Streamer University with Chris Next Door was like, like, hey, like, I don't think like streamers too often today get caught up in, I think, look what I'm doing or look what I've done or whatever. And it's this segment or this thing that is on stream. And I don't think it's like, I don't think it's like that. I don't think it's like, oh, I think it's dope if Kai brings a giraffe into his room every day, but I just don't think like that's the reason why people watch him.
Facts.
And so I think like the real reason why people watch people is because I think that it all derives from an emotional connection. And so it's really not about what you do, but rather how you make people feel, and so to me,
and that's everything. Like, movies,
like, music, all of it, right? And so to me, it's always been a thing where I think like instead of hey, let me think of this cool stream segment that is unique and it's going to get you a bunch of subs and whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever that is, like that might be dope. But to me, I'd always tell them like, yo, like what is the value of that? Like what are you if somebody can tell you an idea, that's fire. But then inside of that idea, like, what are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
And because if it's just an idea that's like unique or fun or whatever, but that's the only thought behind it. To me, I don't really think like that's an effective way to do content, because you're just doing like random things then at that point. So to me, I felt like I if there was anything that I pitched or sold, it was more so like, yo, just to me, you are now going to move with content with intention and purpose and value, right? And so to me, I think if that is something that you're looking for, then me and you will get along great. I said, if it's not something you're looking for, then we'll butt heads and you'll hate me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, you need to decide that. And he very quickly was like, yo, like, I want to do that. I want to make content that has intention and has value and all these things. And so, it was very much a very quick and easy going process to get going into what was July, and then the caretaker and then all that stuff. And it just kind of, I think, for sure, if we asked him, he'd probably be like, boy, I was nervous at this, at this point or whatever. But, but for me, it all felt like, once specifically for the caretaker stuff, like it was as soon as Corey 2U popped on screen for the first time, I knew that it was going to be a success and that I had picked the right people to come and do it. And, it's one of those things where I think like, it just needed to, for him at least, because it's such a wildly different way of doing things than he used to do them. So I think for me, looking at him and try to get his perspective, it was just a matter of just, hey, I just need to see a couple, fucking shots go in the basket. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just need to just see a couple of them. And sure enough, we didn't just hit a couple shots. We won the game. You know what I'm saying? We fucking kept going. So to me, that's how I look at it. And I think it was just that overall nature of planning, I guess, with intention that sold him, I think. And that was that the pitch that won him over, I think.
Exactly. And that's not to say that, all the content before you came was purposeless. I'm sure.
No, not at all.
YRG. Yeah, I'm not saying you saying that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of YRG probably grew up on Rage, and Rage probably helped a lot of people get through dark times, provide a lot of smiles and laughter. But when you move throughout anything, whenever you add more purpose to anything, you'll last longer and it'll resonate with more people because it's all cohesive. And that's pretty much all you did. So yeah, people get best of both worlds.
Yes.
So how would you describe creative directing, like, to someone that might not be familiar with Twitch? And how do you describe what you do?
It's a good question. I guess I would say like, is really just for me it's deeper, but I think if I was explaining to somebody that had never watched Twitch before or they didn't know, I would just say, you know, like I'm just the person that write the content, like the things that are happening on screen, like I write them before they happen. You know what I'm saying? And I think it would just be kind of like more of like, yeah, like just like if you you know, I'd probably say something some bullshit like, hey, like Rage is Spider-Man and I'm the comic book artist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of what it is. And I get to draw the panels, you know, but he's the face and he get to be the hero and he get to be the, you know what I'm saying? And
all right. Now, how would you explain it to someone that is familiar?
I would say I'm someone who is a voice and a direction in terms of content that derives from, man, this is a really bad way to probably explain it, but like I would hope that the person that I'm talking to, they're familiar, like they would latch on with me, they would go deep with me, you feel what I'm saying? Pause. Yeah. But it's like I feel like, yo, like I'm really somebody who makes the content, right? But the content is not idea driven, the content is emotionally driven. Does that make sense? So
that doesn't make sense to me. Shit.
Yeah, so to me, that's what I would say is like I'm yes, I create the content. I am the content director, or creative director or whatever you want to say, but that's not done through like let me just think of ideas. It's more so like, hey, like I'd like this, what emotion do I want to get from chat? And then that's how I come up with what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, cool. So like yesterday, I think, or the day before yesterday, when it was like mostly reactions, do you have a hand in that at all? Or is it just like Rage do his thing? Are you more focused on
sometimes most of the time it's like this. It'll be like if I feel like, okay, hey, the content needs a break, or there needs, because I very much look at it like, you know, not because it's hard. You don't want to, I think in nature, feed some like, I don't know, people who are parasocial or whatever. But I think just in understanding like viewership, understanding humanity, social structures, like there's a little bit of parasocial shit that has to happen for you to fuck with a streamer. Like they're just like, you know, just on like a base like level, right? Level, and then there's things that go beyond that. That's like, okay, that's really parasocial, right, or whatever. But to me, it's like I don't think a viewer, like, to me, it's like their top process is always going to be thinking, hey, like, could I actually like be friends with this person? Like, would I like to like hang out with this person, or would this person actually make me laugh? And then that's how a lot of times they end up hanging around, you know? So I feel like for me, sometimes it will be like a, you know, because of that and because of that emotional drawing of, okay, it is like I'm hanging out with my friend. I don't think you would want to go like to the movies every single time with your friend. I don't think you would want to go to do this activity every single time with your friend, right? You would want to just kick it sometimes.
Yeah, you know, and the movies, you mean like the grand collabs? That's the movie.
Yeah, you know, or whatever you want to call it. I think, you know, just to me, it's just like any activity, you know, like, yo, like I'm you know, bro, you want to go to Six Flags? I'd love to go to Six Flags with you, Matt. I would not like to go to Six Flags with you every day. Facts. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, so to me, it's any activity you can think of is like, that's kind of what I'm talking about. And that could be anything. That could be collabs. That could be gaming segments that I'm having him do, Discord segments that I'm having him do, whatever it is I'm having him do. It's just a break from that. And it's just him and chat.
Yeah.
You know, now there may be things where I go, hey, I want you to react to this, or I want you to talk about this, or I want you to say something like this, or preview, you know, what's going to come up for content in a week or whatever. Right. Okay. But everything that is okay, like desktop and, you know, video reactions, and that's him and like a YouTube team that we have that is super awesome. They get all the stuff that they want him to react to together. He goes through stuff and reacts and say, oh, I want to watch this with chat or whatever. Like, and it's just usually just like a doc or something, or just, you know, I think most streamers usually just put something where they can just have access to it, and, you know, the links are all there and they can click and bring them up. And but for me, most of that is like, I really like to leave those things untouched, because I do feel like at this point, I think most people know if something happens other than that, then it's me.
Yeah.
And you know, if it's mostly reactions, then it should feel like it's just their time with rage. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. At its heart, like reaction stuff like that, that's streaming at its purest form. Like that's when people.
And I think that's what he's best at.
Yeah.
Which you know, and that's
good.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I think, you know, there's really 3 parts of streaming. I think, you know, inherently, I think there's the desktop, there's the IRL, and there's like an event based, you know, where it's like a show or something a little bit more produced, you know. And I think like the idea is if you want to be a great streamer, you're going to have to find a way to, you know, especially if you want to be somebody who's at the top. I'm not, you know, if you want to be somebody that's just, hey, like I got 1,000 viewers or whatever, you know, that's, you know, hey, that's fire, you know, go do what you want to do. But I'm saying, you want to be Kai Cenat, you want to be Speed, you want to be, you know, all these big time streamers. Usually in most cases, you will have to at least have some experience and some content in those 3 areas. And you can't usually just be in one unless you are an outlier of some sort. You know what I'm saying?
Like a queso.
Like a queso, right? You know what I'm saying? I feel like, so there's all those things. So I feel like for me, it's one of those processes where, you know, you want to get on the right kind of time. I don't even know, timeline or trajectory in terms of just completing things that are relevant in those subgenres of streaming, and you're putting value up to those things. And for me, I feel like, you know, he's just so on lock with the desktop side of things, like you said. And so it's like, it was really just, hey, can I learn how to be good in IRL? And then can we get to a point where we're doing some event stuff? And you know, we did the Turkey Bowl and some other stuff. And so, you know, we're getting reps in, you know, but the goal is to get to a point where all 3 of those phases, you know, he's really good at. And I think once you're in that kind of zone, or in that kind of like, hey, you know, I feel comfortable going into either of those areas, then I feel like you really are I mean, I don't know, just an all around star, you know, like a complete creator, a complete creator, you know. And I think doing those yourselves though, too, I think what other people don't think about too sometimes is when you do those things yourselves as a creator, then when other people invite you to their things, you're better because you've already done those things. You know, so now if you're used to running your own event and you go to another event, you kind of know how to act and what's going on and the stress level. Like you're able to just navigate the whole scenario better because you've done it. So, you know what I'm saying? I think for me, those are always the things that I think about is, you know, it's always not, in fact, just, and that's sometimes for a streamer, it's hard to get them not because it's a bad thing necessarily, because you do want them to be hard focused, but you know, sometimes it's hard to say, hey, like, let's take the blinders off a little bit. And it's not always the impact that we're going to feel right now, like immediately after the stream, but it might be an impact that we feel months down the line. You know what I'm saying? That this we did this and we got this rep, and you know, 2-3 months from now, somebody does something and this experience is valuable. And it won't feel that way until then. And, you know, and that was kind of, I think, at first a hard thing to understand, but because of the way that I think that I scheduled content and had the intention of things that we were going to do, those things they did pay dividends. You know, the caretaker stuff, like I had him do so many things and improv and skit things, you know, telling him like, hey, like it's a lot right now. I said, but I promise you when we get done with it, it won't feel like a lot, and it'll actually feel like a short time, and it'll feel like a little arc or whatever. And you, though, will be better for this when you line up with someone like a Chris Next Door or Agent or whatever in a different streaming atmosphere. And so we did that caretaker stuff. And then what did we get the opportunity to do right after that? The Hawaii Marathon with Agent Senna and Emily, right? And so he now was way better at a bunch of things, but things I'll highlight is because of the caretaker and him having to be, you know, taken care of all the time and driven around and all these things, we had to do so many car segments with the caretakers because we had to go different places, and it was just hard. And, you know, he couldn't drive, and they had to, so he had to get good at, hey, like if I'm in the car, we got to stall. Like I got
a real
conversations. I got to figure out how to entertain. Right. So it's like those things. And what did Hawaii end up being? A bunch of car traveling to get to certain places. And so he's now equipped with the ability to go, okay, we're in the car and content's dying. Like, these people need my help. But now he's able to provide that help. And now everybody's better for it because he went through a rep, right? And then another thing is, like, he didn't really know Emily and Senna that well. I mean, he knew Senna a little bit, but you know what I'm saying? He didn't know Emily at all, really. But what did the caretaker stuff do? Well, it was all people besides Dante and Chris that he had never met before, that were small streamers that I got at Streamer University, that, you know, I felt like were going to be, you know, stars, and I felt like they just needed the right platform. And so it's like, I told him, I was like, you need to treat these people like they are your streaming equal, because I promise you, when you get on camera with them, it will feel that they will bring that energy if they command thousands of viewers. And if you look at it that way, then you'll start to really create some great content with them. And then their audience will grow because other people will see that and see that confidence in them and go, damn, I should be watching that person. Right. And so for me, is like, he understood now, because of all those caretaker reps, how to introduce someone in his universe, and just how to introduce someone to him to make content with and collab with better. And so for me, it all lines up of like, yo, like, these reps and these things that we're doing help you with the content that we're going to be doing later on, in most times, in most scenarios.
Wow, that's brilliant. It all connects, it's all cohesive, and it's all accumulative also. So I'm looking at Rage, right? I mean, Rage came up, he was a no cam streamer, then became a reaction streamer, and he created words like yacht. And that's just funny, but like, to have in comp, and he says he has a lot of lingo words that a lot of people shit I've heard in high school and people latch on to. And with Rage, you're going to be hard pressed finding somebody that's more comfortable in their skin, like Rage. So, I want to ask, what makes him, you think, such a unique creator, and like the lane that he's in, that can make him do all the great stuff he does?
I feel like for me, it is a combination of a lot of things, but I think he possesses one unique trait that I think is different from a lot of his peers, in my opinion. Just, you know what I'm saying, in terms of being a streamer. I don't know if a lot of streamers are able to do this. I think the first part of the trait, most streamers are able to do, which is why it's tricky, I think, to find someone that is able to do the second part. But the first part, I think, is in fact, even probably most streamers down to, you know, 50, 60 viewers, you know what I'm saying? Just, you have to have a certain personality and a certain ease about you in front of the camera, that, you know, you're able to stay calm and hey, I'm able to be myself in front of the camera, but also other people, like whatever's going on, I'm able to be myself. And I think that is a really good trait to have.
Yeah.
The second part of the trait, to me, though, that a lot of people don't have, is I am able to be myself, but I'm able to put so much like of me, myself being in the air, that I almost make you be yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now I'm like taking in the whole group, and I'm making everybody be way more comfortable because of what I'm putting out in the air. And that helps me, yes, but it also, if people are having the right like they're receiving energy the right way, it will help them. So to me, he does that. And I think to do that in his, I guess I would just say, like, persona, character online is just, in my opinion, like, really special. You know what I'm saying? That's where you get kind of like a you know, the sports, like, all around, he can do it all type of person, is when, I can be myself, but I can help you be yourself, and I can be funny, I cannot be too serious. But then I think another most important thing of what helps him be him and great in his lane is he's able to be the blunt of a joke. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like for me, like, that is a really special skill, because I don't think like I think it's interesting when you have someone who, as a streamer, and you look at content creation, a lot of it derives from the personality and core traits of the streamer themselves individually. And you know, there is I hate to use this word, but it's, you know, like an aura or an energy, or you know what I'm saying, whatever, like all of them all streamers, all creators have some type of thing like that, right? To them. Some are a little bit more impactful than others, right? But they all have some type of aura. And so I feel like for me, it's rare to get someone with Rage's aura, who I think is like a very, like, I would say like
strong and abrasive.
Yeah, like strong, abrasive, like very like, look at, like, everybody will look at him when we walk in rooms and shit. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just very like attention grabbing aura.
Yeah.
You don't really see a lot of times that person be down to just get laughed at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and still come out having the same aura as when he went into that situation with, or character, you know, however you want to put it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he's just able to still come out unscathed through everything. And so I think like that's special. And knowing that, and knowing, I think his journey and the way that he's come about, and a really special connection that he has with YRG, I think he is in his very specific own lane of all around variety content that is really derived from, hey, like, I'm really seeking to make my chat feel better today. And with that lane, I think a lot of it is just so personality driven that luckily he is a streamer that is, I would say, like, you know, I guess the same person with the camera on as he is with the camera off. You feel what I'm saying? And so for me, I feel like when you get a streamer that's like that, and then you have the content be very authentic and emotionally driven, then a lot of it is like pretty easy to do, because it's just, hey, like, go do this activity and then
be yourself.
Because and be yourself. Because if you're telling me the truth and you love this activity, then you'll love it on camera, and they'll see that you love it. And because they love watching you, they'll love what you're doing. You know, because you're having fun, and they like when you have fun. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, it's that type of thing. And you know, and then there are other systematic layers in that. Like, yes, there are certain characters, and Rage is one of them, where the viewership likes to see him fail. You know what I'm saying? But they always like to see him bounce back, right? They never like to see Rage fail and fail and fail and fail. They don't like that. But they do like when he gets beat down and then he's able to do something spectacular right after that, right? And so to me, that's the whole thing. Is it's like, yo, like, let's put you in positions where things might be a little tough, and if you lose, that's okay, because we'll have something else after that we feel like is you're really good at, or maybe that, you know, we feel like the chat has been wanting. And you know, he's a pretty, I think I'm lucky to get a streamer who's pretty good at a lot of games, or, you know, I mean, he's above average. He's not, don't ever let him say he's the best, because he's not the best. But
it's low-key better that he's not like the best.
Oh God, if he was the best, I probably would have already jumped, bro. But no, I say, like, he's just, you know, he's competent at a lot of gaming things, or challenges, physical challenges, especially, you know, when his knee heals and stuff like that. Like, it's just, he's able to do things with the best of whatever streamers have to offer in those type of lanes. And so, you know, it is easy to, hey, if we need a win or we need something, go frame this and then go out and go get it. And so, but a lot of it, I say it just to wrap that up, is just like, yeah, like, a lot of it is just so personality, emotional based content that I find his lane to be in, that really, I think what makes him good is being able to be himself, make other people better, and let them be themselves. And then not being afraid to be yourself. He sees, I think, the purpose of the content, in terms of, like, he understands, like, to me, it's one thing, I think, to be a point guard or a quarterback and know the play, but to know the purpose of the play. And it's not just, hey, like, yes, like, this person is going on a streak, right? And I know that he's over there. I know the playbook. I know that person over there. But is it the play knowledge, or is it the purpose of the play? Is like, yo, I know that guy's not my first read, and really he's clearing space out for this guy that's going underneath,
like the dig behind him.
Like, so I know and I understand that, like, you know, when I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the play, like, I know the desired outcome. Yes, would it be dope if I threw this 40-yard bomb and he fucking caught it, or he scored, or whatever? Of course. And my coach's not gonna be mad at me. Of course, you scored. But if that is if the dig is 90% wide open and that shit is like a little bit covered, like, bro, you better go with that dig, like, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you better know the purpose of the play and what it's meant to do. So
for the entirety of the game,
through the entirety of the game. And so for me, he does, that's what makes him great, is he's able to be himself. He's able to make other people be himself. But then whatever I tell him in terms of content and the playbook, like, he knows the purpose of the play. And to me, that combination, like, that's what makes him great in his lane, in my opinion.
Yeah, facts. All right, so I want to go behind the curtain a little bit of the YRG staff. Like, I got it written down here. So we have Rage the talent,
yes,
AimHigh, the creative director, and Abdi Mix and Linda are the editors.
Okay, well, we have an Abdi and them are our editors, but they actually work for a YouTube group. And the YouTube group helps us. We have a person who runs that, and they're a bigger team than we are, to be honest with you. But they run the YouTube, but we got Barnes and Abdi for editing and thumbnails and things like that. But it is one team, like, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's not just them.
Right. And that's when I ask you, so like, how often are those meetings like, and what are content meetings like? I've never
I'll say this. So the way that we do things is, so I drive overall content, but the YouTube staff and team, like, they will meet separately and kind of drive like YouTube reaction content and desktop content, if I don't have anything to kind of give them, right? So it basically is kind of like, you know, I'll map out content, and this is what I think that Rage should be doing, and overall, right? Twitch, whatever, and then the Twitch funnels from that to TikTok, YouTube, all the different places. But the main thing is we're going to be doing shit on Twitch. So what does that look like? And then if I don't have anything on certain days or whatever, he's doing desktop, then they have stuff that they want him to react to that they might feel is like a good video or whatever. And all those things are being decided within their team, you know, because the person who's running them is pretty trusted, and I know him very well. So, you know, I kind of just let them do whatever they want to do, and then, you know, it's just kind of, in my opinion, understood. Yeah, as far as YouTube fans. So it's just, and then it's kind of understood that the hierarchy, in my opinion, is like, okay, the Twitch and the overall creativeness, whatever that content is, comes first. So, hey, if I need you to do something, hey, if this is what I'm seeing, okay, we'll do that, and then we'll get to whatever the YouTube stuff is secondly or whatever. You know, but to me, it's more so like those, I would say the YouTube meetings probably, like, I mean, I'm confident that they meet more than 3 times a week.
And that's to talk about like statistics, how videos.
Yeah, I would say that they talk about a lot of things. You know, they have an overall vision as well, right? So for me, like, you know, the my vision and stuff like that is more so like overall. I would say like general brand, like public perception. You know what I'm saying? Like, or general things where I feel like, you know, their vision may be just very strictly like YouTube oriented, like, hey, like, you know, how can we get his audience into this type of video, or how can we, you know, get this type of genre video like more clickable or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or titles, like all those things. So they meet on a very consistent basis to try to figure those things out. But in terms of meeting wholly together, you know, maybe once a month. I mean, to me, it's very, the team isn't big enough, in my opinion, to need to like, hey, like, we need to rein in the forces, and you know what I'm saying? And like, we can't, we need to have an all hands, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's more so like as long, in my opinion, as the, you know, the people at the top are communicating correctly, you know, everybody else, like, it's kind of like, to me, I'm just so sports oriented that it's really like a football team.
So am I.
It's like, yeah. So, you know, so to me, it'd be like, yo, like, I'm the head coach, Rage is the quarterback, Cam is our general manager, You know what I'm saying? And Rage is also, even though he's the quarterback, he's also the owner, right? So he's an owner / quarterback. Right. And then the other team members are all players on the field. You know what I'm saying? I see. Looking at it like that, you can kind of get a sense of how we operate and how we work and how the content kind of comes out.
Right. And do y'all plan a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance?
So for me, I plan technically we're planned like a year out. Technically. However, we really were detailed planned out for these first 3 months. So everything that you've seen up until now has been planned like maybe at the beginning of January.
Wow.
And so for me, a lot of that was kind of like I still was unfinished doing certain narratives and creating certain through lines for things that I needed to do for the rest of this year. So I needed to kind of do that in the first quarter. And now we're into we're about to end the first quarter, and then April will start the second quarter. And then, we'll do some other things, but for me, a lot of it is more so like, hey, like, again, football, like a draft board, you know what I'm saying? Like I put things up on a schedule that I feel like might go in certain places, but when it gets time, like I'm like going to draft something, you know what I'm saying? And pick something off the board. So it may not necessarily always be the thing that I had intention to be there, but
so you have like a bunch of ideas.
Yeah.
For.
Yeah. And I kind of say like, hey, like this would fit in the summertime, or this would fit in the wintertime, or this would fit for this emotion, and this would fit for this feeling, or whatever. Right. But just like drafting, I feel like not all the time when it comes time to do that thing, you always go with that thing. Sometimes you go with your gut and you're like, fuck it, I want the receiver that runs 4.2. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you just do it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of how I operate is, there's of course a structure, and there's always a method, I guess, to the madness. But if you want to say, oh, we're planned out, we're scheduled, it's more of like I have an inkling or like a feeling that's what we're going to do around this time, and I kind of plan for that. But for this first month, we were planned out all the way till the end of March, around like the first week of January. But like the second quarter, not going to be as planned out, because I want him to do some other things. I want to get across some other things, right? And then quarter 3 and quarter 4 might be a little bit more planned out, right? So just because there's certain other goals that you want to accomplish for that quarter, right? So to me, I think that's kind of like the way that I look at it is, they're with the content having value and intention. Well, what are those goals? And for me, those goals are like overheaders for the quarter. And then that content's purpose will serve the overall goal that we had for that quarter.
Right. How do you feel about this recent quarter? Y'all think it was successful? Something coming to change?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, there's only probably a couple things that I probably would change. I think, I've learned not to, I think, be so, I think caught up in, I guess just things that happen. Like, I think for me, like, I really want to be somebody that is good at living in the right now. And I feel like for me, there's not a lot of things that I can do. Once something happens, it happens, and we tried our best. And if it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well. But I can't ever let if I look at it like, I'm a painter or whatever, or just an artist, like I just don't know, like, or even like movies, film, like I just like TV, right? Like I don't look at those things very often. And I think like, okay, when has like the audience ever driven like that thing?
Yeah. Art is supposed to be selfish.
Never, right? So I don't know, that thing and that idea is very like, if I do go into that type of thinking of like, oh, like what could I have changed, or what did they like, or what did they not like, or what, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, if it's not super relevant in terms of like, yo, like, I don't like this to a point where I would like not watch you again.
Right.
Like, to me, and then even then, like I would need to know the reasoning behind some of that, because then if the reason is not good enough for me, like I'd be like, oh, I don't care about that viewer anyway, because they just have a skewed perspective, in my opinion. Like they're not watching with the right intent anyway, right? So like to me, it's like you could like something, but why do you like it in terms of the art? Like if you like anime, for example, there are certain animes that I feel like people like casually, but that, you know, I think for maybe the person who created it, or even people who are deep lovers of that anime, if that casual person told them why they like the anime, right, that person would probably be like, whoa, why? You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many other reasons to like it, right? Like, to me, like that's kind of what could happen, right, with streaming. And the way that I do things is like, you know, people I think can like my content, but I think sometimes what can often happen, I think, in the deep Twitter spaces of YRG, is you can see something and realize like, oh, AIM did this and I like it. But then I will do something that I think is completely opposite to that if you're looking at it through a lens of like just segments and people who collab.
Yeah, like black
and you're
and
not,
white kind of.
You said what?
I said the look kind of black and white.
Yeah. If you're looking at, I think, through that like a black and white lens, like it can often look like it's just like, yo, like it dead is just black, white, black, white, 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 black, black, white, black. But you know what I'm saying? And then but to us who have a different lens on, right, it's not just black and white. There's a lot of colors going on, and there's a lot of meshing colors and combining of colors and things happening. And so to me, I think I lose some of that if I do start to think in terms of like, yo, like, you know, you want to have some type of pressure on you, I think, as an artist, to look back on you and be like, did I do the right thing? Right. But I think to think like, oh, could I change something, or do I regret it or whatever? To me, I try not to think too hard on it. But I think overall it was super successful. I think for me, the main part is, you know, a very much continuation of, you know, the end of the year and the things that he was doing in terms of just making more friends. And I think the idea was a little bit about, you know, hey, let's expand on some of these friendships, because I think some of them are certainly so new. I think something to look at and think about is like an easier way to explain it, I think, is just to give you an example that actually happened. Is like, you know, to me, when they did the caretaker stuff, or not the care, my fault, the Hawaii stuff, you know, Chris was his caretaker for that. AMP, known very well. Agent was his main protagonist or antagonist in the thing, known him very well. Senna, DreamCon, TwitchCon, other different conventions at the time, so we know her a little bit. We don't know Emily. He does the stuff with Emily. Who's the first 3-day contract that we do? It's Emily. If you go back and look, Emily's the first person that we do a 3-day contract, where she comes to Florida first, does all this stuff, and off that, Agent came next. Right. But we didn't, but it was like kind of spur of the moment, because Emily had come, right? And then he was already headed down there. Contract, or y'all just like, no. I just say that just okay. Like, no. But it's like the 3-day, you know, hey, 3-day coming down here, spend some time with us, right? And so we did that strategically because Emily was the person, in my opinion, that had the most value in terms of being a creator that just hadn't worked with Rage before, and was really good at what she did, and you know, just had not really had any prior run-ins with each other, and there was just a lot to learn. And so to me, it ended up spawning a bunch of other different things, you know, and I think like at the end of the day, it's like that type of process where you just have a follow-up is, I think, what really ignites what could be. Because to me, it's like it's just that little, like we said with the baskets going, like I just need to see a couple go in. Like if the potential is there, I'll see it with the eye test. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll see the potential there with the eyes. So it's like, for me, that's kind of what it was like, yo, the friendships and the things that we had done in 2025, at least the ones that we felt like were really, really solid and really good, and really created value within the space and within our universe, and even helped the other person. Those type of relationships, let's just expand on those in those first quarters and create the second episode, whatever you want, you know what I'm saying? Just a follow-up. And then we can kind of go do some other things in the middle of the second quarter, the third quarter, fourth quarter, we'll come back to some of those friends. But the idea is like, let's at least kind of like get some lore for when we look back at this year, like these things happened with these people who happened at the end of that last year. Right. And then we have that connection. We have those memories for when we return in the prime of streaming season, which is, I would say, like the fall and on, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, you know, or at least I guess summertime too, but it just certainly isn't the beginning of the year. Right.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just like, yeah, it's like getting that kind of like follow up in times where, like, in my opinion, you wouldn't normally have that follow up.
Going back to this first quarter, you've done an exceptional job, especially for like this year, your first time like starting out. Exceptional job. I want to say that as far as you talking about the reception from the deep YRG Twitter comment about them being wishy-washy on some things you do, my biggest like inspiration or my favorite creator ever is RDC. It's Mark. Mark. I think he's really creative.
He's awesome.
Dropping out with the pressure to make it as a creator is one thing, but dropping out with the whole team behind your back, banking on you to make it is another. But I say to say that I love Mark. I've been watching him since like I was in highlight for years on years now. And I've never commented on any of his videos, any of his content, and he's not gonna like to hear this, but I've never liked the video. I rarely interact, but I watch all his content. I say that to say that like your biggest supporters of YRG or just any content space have probably never spoken or never chatted before, but tune in every stream and watch every YouTube video. So most of your supporters are silent in those comms, and probably the most agitated and probably people like don't probably, you know what I'm saying, don't want the most of your comms are commenting the most. So it might skew what the perception is, but most of YRG loves what you're doing. I love what you're doing. I think it's very creative and innovative, and you're definitely going on the right track. But you're a perfectionist, and that's what makes you so good at your job. So you're going to look back and kind of critique some things, but holistically on the outside in, it's fantastic. And I could see the purpose in the videos or the content. So yeah, you're doing a great job.
That's good. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. All right, so I want to ask what the idea of caretaker is so interesting. You said that was one of your first pitches to Rage. And how did you think of a content idea centered around Rage being immobile? Like he can't use his legs, but you created such a good idea. So talk me through caretaker.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was, you know, just really kind of coming out of the first initial trip that I took to Chicago, and you know, thinking like at the time I was really living in Arkansas, which is like, it was like just chilling, like, bro, just chilling in like country, just nature, dude, just stars, right? Like, so I'm just sitting there vibing, like thinking about things, you know, in real calm areas, environments, and you know, just trying to get my mind right and think of some dope ideas. And you know, I think for me, it was just the idea of like the, you know, I think 2 or 3 movies that I had seen, where someone was just like, it was either like a best friend or like a parent or like somebody who literally was hired as like what I mean, that's the only word I would describe, is like hired as a caretaker. Right. And some of them were pretty serious, but I remember seeing one of them that was like, it was like the dude, Bryan Cranston, the dude from fucking Malcolm in the Middle and what's Breaking Bad, and him and Kevin Hart. And it was supposed to be serious, I think, but it was like, there was like pockets of that movie that were like actually genuinely pretty funny. And that's probably has a lot to do with Kevin Hart, you know what I'm saying? And just the way he approached trying to take care of this dude in the scenes, you know what I mean? And to me, that kind of sparked the initial thought of just like, that could be funny. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that thought of just like, you know, somebody and it being Rage, like it could be funny, you know what I'm saying? And so that was my whole pitch, was just like, yo, I think like it doesn't have to be a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? It can be something that we take and we actually use it as content and empower you. And chat also gets connected to you better because they see you go through these things live. You know what I'm saying? They see your journey live and the healing process live. And then you're going to make some new friends out of it. Cause I'm not just going to invite your homies. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to invite people that I think like add value to the content in terms of pushing you out of your comfort zone, you know, but I gave him, you know, with that, there was some homies in there, right? You know, I threw him Chris and Dante, who he had worked with before, to you know make him feel comfortable in certain areas. But to me, the main prize was to send someone that wasn't his homie, like Corey or Danny or Nyana, right? That he's just meeting for the first time, and almost, you know, say, hey man, fucking, you know, throw them into the pool and swim, right? Like, like that type of like, hey, I need to see you, feed you to the wolves a little bit, and see if you can interact with these people who on a you know, just an initial basis are lower than you on the entertainment scale, supposedly, right? But so can you lead and get them going? And to me, you know, he did a really good job of being able to go, oh wow, okay, like, I need to be a certain way with these people in entertainment and have a certain value about the way that I you know, create content and improv, and there's a certain energy and emotion and tone and almost like a beats per minute type, like I put out as the lead creator, that other people that when they're around me, they'll latch on to that. And then like I said, he's able to make them be themselves. Then that's how you get the best version of something. You know, you're kind of like, I think the best way I just described is like, you know, you're the lead in a dance, right? Like you got a dance partner and you have to feel that rhythm, but you're pushing the pace, right? And if you as a leader are not on pace, like you fuck the partner up, you fuck the dance up, you guys have to stop. And like, you know what I'm saying? The whole thing has to like start again. It's awkward. So it's like, to me, that's what it is being able to, I think, engage with those other people. And you know, I'm glad he did it, man. I'm glad he decided to do it, and it ended up being really great. And I think it just was very easily could have not done well. I think, you know what I'm saying? I think a lot of it is a tribute to the people who I picked. Who are just really great people, and all of them are just awesome and great entertainers and are going to be great streamers or whatever they want to do. Yana's so talented, she do whatever the fuck she want to do. But I feel like, you know, it's definitely a testament to them and Rage for at least being willing to try the idea, you know what I'm saying, and to commit to the bit and to commit to what it was, you know.
No doubt, man. That whole arc, I remember watching a YouTube video when he got the double leg surgery, and you know, watching him into that car screaming in agony, like it was low-key hard to watch, and you could tell that, you know, this was a huge change. Like he couldn't walk for a while. And then obviously the Caretaker series, I love the I'm Dante episode. That's probably one of my favorite. Dante's
incredible.
Nah, he's one of one, like sincerely,
he's so funny.
But watching Rage move his foot like half an inch, like that was a big moment. Like, I was like, man, he can walk now. But just it'd be one thing for you to come in and just like, okay, let's do this. But Rage has a massive disability. Like he can't move. Like he's in a wheelchair. And for you to plan content around that as one of your first pitches and also get nominated. I mean, there's so many stream series segments. How was it like to get that get that confirmation of what you did was more than just a successful streaming series?
Really, really validating, bro. I feel like you know, I think for me though, it was more so of just like validating in terms of like you know, it was the right thing to do, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Just in terms of not really like, I guess, a content standpoint, but just from like a human standpoint, like it was the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's the type of validation for me that I really like, is knowing that I feel like we really impacted people in terms of, you know, the story. And yes, it was produced well in terms of, okay, this is going to happen. And, you know, it's going to be a reoccurring series and a show, and they're going to get fired and we're going to bring them back. And I think that, like, yes, that's creative, and I'm glad I did that stuff. But I think more of it is like, you know, we got to take somebody who, you know, whatever you want to say about it, I don't know what he would say about it, but I think it's okay if he was. But I think, like, someone who potentially could have been really scared, I think, to lose viewership, money. I mean, you know, I don't know what that looks like. You know, you don't stream for 3 or 4 months to heal, but what else is your mental doing? Is it just 3 or 4 months, or is it going to be 5? Is it going to be 6? Is it going to be, you know? So to me, it's like, to be able to take someone who's in that position and say, like, nah, we're not doing that. Like, instead, like, we're going to make this work for you and benefit you. That to me was the more thing that I feel like I'm glad that it was nominated, because I felt like that was why it should be nominated. Is people voted for it because they felt like, you know, this was actually something that was not just for entertainment, but it had a little bit deeper meaning to it.
It resonated.
Yeah, it resonated. And, you know, and so I hope that's why it got nominated. And I feel like, at least that's how I look at it, being nominated. And that's how I get my validation out of that. But it sounds more than just
like, it sounds more than just like a successful segment. It sounds like validating you as like a pivot in your career choice.
Yeah, and it did as well. I feel like that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it definitely, I think, was, you know, on track. I mean, it's something that I felt like I told him was possible in terms of, you know, winning awards and being nominated, and you know, and you know, that came true. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like it's always in my opinion, like, it's a not a seek that, but it's like, yo, we will get that because of what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of how we're moving. Like, that will be, yes, that will be a byproduct of what happens because of the way that we move intentionally on this content. And you know, and I believe that, and you know, and I think, like, you know, if it was more like the Oscars or Grammys or something, I probably would even more guarantee him that we would be nominated or something. You know what I'm saying? But it's fan voted, and you know, to me, it's just like, you know, with that can be a little bit different to navigate. But I think you know, to me, it's still the same core principle of, like, yo, like, if you really hit with someone, yeah, the popularity contest is there, but I think at the very least, like, you'll get nominated. You know what I'm saying? Like, people will respect what you did, you know, to at least nominate you. And I felt like that's what happened. And I feel like I take that as a win, and he should too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he should feel really proud about that. Cause, you know, it's not just the healing part of it. I think that is very interesting to me, having to go through that on camera, but it's the mental part of it, of like, yo, like, I'm healing, but I'm also, like, having to work and, like, drain my energy every day to, like, do this. You know, it's like there's two battles going on, you know, at the same time, one physical and one mental, in that scenario. And yeah, he was able to get through it and crush it, in my opinion. So
no doubt. Yeah, shout out Cutie.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about a little bit about, like, the collabs. There's obviously been a point of emphasis. I'm looking at the Among Us lobby, Super Deep, the Care, the Dick, Girls Night, Caretaker, the collab with S-Fan, Julia Kins, Alveus, cosplay stream with Emiru Maya, Senna, recently off the show. Was that like a point of emphasis from the beginning? And how do you kind of, like, plan who you want to collab with next?
With all the people you named right there, yeah, they all for sure have their like, specific, like, thing that I feel like they bent, like, they give to Rage, right, in terms of, like, value, or you know, things that they do on a creator level. But I think really, when you look deeper at those creators, to me, like, I think the one thing that you'll notice is most of them, if not all of them, in my opinion, for me, at least in my interaction, I don't, streaming is so big. It's such a big space. I don't know who interacts with who, but on our account, all those streamers are great people. And so for me, I think, like, you know, that was really the emphasis is like, yes, like, I want to pick people who add value to the overall thing that we're doing, that is streaming, that is, like, you know, a business in a way. And you have to have great content, and to have great content, you got to surround yourself with great people, right? And people who think like you and move like you, and, you know, do these certain things. And for me, I think, like, it was just like Rage just didn't do that a lot, you know? So for me, it was kind of easy to say, like, I could go anywhere, and have people that he's never interacted with before. But I think when I looked at it, and I just kind of, I don't know, surveyed the Twitch universe. You know, the landscape, you know, the Austin, Texas people made a lot of sense to me. Just because I felt like, you know, watching them in 2017, 18, 19, in my early streaming years and stuff like that, I kind of just felt like they got kind of a bad shake. Like, they kind of had some bad luck. Like, people, there's good people there that kind of were in some crazy situations. You know, and not all the times is that fair. And, you know, when you look at it and you get deeper details about it, you realize, like, oh shit, like, even when things were supposedly good, like, they weren't doing what they wanted to do. It was to serve someone else or to serve a bigger thing or whatever. Like, and, you know, to me, like, those are, like, again, like, me and you can resonate with sports, right? So it's like, you know, to me, like, that's Sam Darnold, gang. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? That's someone who, you know, a Rashid Shaheed, and I'm just saying that because I'm a Seahawk fan, but it's like, you know, Super Bowl champs. But it's like the idea, though, is like, you can be successful in a different environment. You know, with different people and with different plays and different things. You know, it's not always just going to be like, hey, you suck, you know, because it's like, damn, maybe it was your offensive line. Maybe it was the play caller. Maybe it was whatever XYZ, right? Like, so to me, I think, like, that intrigued me about a lot of those creators is like, damn, like, I feel like a lot of them just got a bad shake. And when looking at their content, they're genuinely funny, great individuals who I think just need a spark again, or just needs like somebody to recognize that they're good creators. Like, you know what I'm saying? And to me, that's kind of what I went in with the idea. And then, you know, for me, it just spawned, or not even for me, but for me and Rage, it just spawned a lot of great friendships and a lot of great, I think, people to work with when creating content, who see things similarly to how we do. And that may not be all the way to how, you know, it, like, in terms of, like, my vision, in terms of with doing content strictly off emotions and things like that, but they see content in terms of a two-way street. You know what I mean? Exactly. And to me, that's the best place that you can, you know, when you collab with people, that's the best understanding that you can have is, you know, hey, like, you may not want to do my idea, or I may not want to do your idea or whatever, but we both have an understanding that no matter whatever we do, like, we both got to be in agreement on it. And we both got to understand that there's benefits to you and there's benefits to me, and there's cons to you and there's cons to me too. So, you know, everything we do affect both of us, kind of, you know what I'm saying? So as long as that is a main thing, then I think, you know, a collab is great. And for us, it's just, we've been really fortunate to almost on every collab, I feel like I've chosen to run into people that think that way. And it's been great.
Oh, yes, exceptional. And within that, another trend that I noticed is that a lot of collabs with women. I think that's awesome. I'm gonna get fucking things gonna think I'm like trying to farm. But you got collabs with, I mean, Senna, Maya, Emily, Julie Kins, Snowcone, Paige, Mari, Imaru, and Cutie. And was that also another point of emphasis, like the sidebar, that because there's not a lot of, you know, women and men collabing for the right reasons. Obviously, you got like dating content, but that's far from what you're doing. So, can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's very much intentional. I feel like for me, I just, again, that's another, I guess, community that I look at, and I just feel like just has gotten a really rough shake on Twitch. And I feel like, you know, for me, there's so many people, you know, it may be my bias of, you know, when I was growing up, like I said, in that 2016, 2015, 2018, 2015, like 2019 era, that 4 years, 2 of them I was viewer, 2 of them I was a streamer. You know, I was watching a Pokemon, you know what I'm saying? And different girl streamers that were streaming video games and were being watched because they were funny or the certain way that they directed their content at the time, that I feel like a lot of those girls were ahead of their time. But it's like, you know, for me, it's just specifically too in the community that I serve in terms of WNL, and where I'm at, you know what I'm saying? Like that universe. I just feel like it's just not, it's just not in a good place in terms of men and women collaborating and the content that comes out of it. And so for me, it was just a point of emphasis to say, like, one, like, what are not even weaknesses, but just what are things that I would designate as weaknesses in Rage's persona or brand. The first and obvious is his PR, just in terms of like the things that he says or gets clipped out of context saying. You know, women and minority groups don't often feel like they align with Rage. You know what I'm saying? Very, very often. But to me, I felt like that was a real disservice to him as a person. Because I feel like he is someone who, if we polled, you know, 90% of the country, they would probably be like, that's a pretty reasonable guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not too crazy, not too wild. He's just kind of likes to be funny. He's the Joker. He's the class clown. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what he is, you know? And to me, I think it was very important to try to show that, and to show that in a way that is like, hey, like I'm not just coming, I'm just not just bringing you as a woman or a gay person or a trans person or, you know, a person of a different race or whatever. I'm not just bringing you on to get what I want. And then it's like, okay, like whatever happens for you. To me, it's more of like, hey, like I want to come and do things that you want to do because I feel like, or AIM has told me, whatever, however I get that this is working, you make great content. And if that's true, then I want to do what you do. And then hopefully you can see that I'm a pretty genuine person and I love making content, and you will want to do some stuff with me. And then when that happens, that's where you get, hey, Austin Show, if you will come to the hood with me, I will go to the drag brunch with you. You know what I'm saying? And now it's not just, hey, I'm coming to make fun of this drag brunch and you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and all this shit looks crazy. It's no, like we're learning about each other and the things that we like to do. And because we are so different, it can be funny and unique in those moments because we're friends and we're not taking it so seriously or whatever. And in that process, we actually come to respect and have a greater understanding for why that person likes this thing or whatever. And so to me, it was a point of emphasis to do that in certain situations. And so with the female perspective, you know, there was just a lot of streamers that I felt were underrated. I think just quite frankly, whether it be an Emily or a Senna, you know, or, you know, the getting down to like the, you know, the awesome girls I was able to find at Streamer University, Snow Cone, Primate Page, Yana, Kat, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like seeing somebody go on the field, just every single thing about them is electric and awesome. And you're like, whoa, this is crazy. And then you realize like this person's like 5'8". You know what I mean? And I think a lot of coaches would be like, oh, you can't play. This is the NFL and you got to be a certain size, or you know what I'm saying? And I feel like sometimes girl streamers get that. Where it's like, it's weird. And it's like, bro, but they're doing everything.
Check all the boxes.
Yeah, they check all the boxes, but you don't want to do it because they're a girl or whatever. You feel a certain way if they, you know, if somebody like Senna pipe up to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's embarrassing because you got fucking burnt by a girl or whatever. You know what I'm
That
saying?
might be a reflection on the coach. That might be something wrong
You
with
feel
the
what I'm saying?
man.
You feel me? So to me, that just felt like there was too much of that going on. And I wanted Rage to include more women in his content, but on their terms, not on ours.
Right.
And I felt like if that were to happen, then they would come back to want to do things on our terms and do some more out of the box things. And so I think for, you know, a great example of that is, dude, fucking Maya Higa, right? Like just the ultimate fucking badass, fucking awesome, bro. She's the greatest. And you know, she's not someone I would say that is unless I'm just wrong, but I you know, I wouldn't say she's someone that strikes me as an improv streamer, you know, go out, do crazy things type streamer. You know, she really stick to her Alvea stuff.
She's the boss.
You know, and singing on her couch. You know what I'm saying? That's what she's doing. So the idea that, okay, hey, Rage, we're gonna come to Alveus. We're going to step in her world. We're going to try to raise as much money as we can. We're going to even donate our own money to this thing. We're going to try to help and come back on a regular basis and try to get into a relationship and a friendship that is, you know, that is beneficial for both parties. And to me, I think when that dedication and just authenticity of wanting to be a part of what Maya's doing was seen from her, well, that now it's a lot easier for her to say, well, Aim, what do you want me to do for y'all?
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And now I'm like, and now I have an idea like, yo, it'd be funny if I sent Mari and Dante to fish with Rage, but they were never going to go fishing, and you just catch them before they fish, and you're mad that they're going to catch and kill the fish or whatever. You know, and now she's out here catching them and improvising like she's the animal police. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, to me, like that's how you get to see, you know, for someone on Maya's side, that's really special for them because they get to see their favorite streamer do some shit she never does. Yeah, exactly. But for us, it's weird because it's like we get that too, but it's like we're not all the way with her every single day. Right. So we have a perception of what Maya is, which is this awesome National Geographic, you know, I forget, conversationalist. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what the word is, but she's just, you know, she helps animals and helps people. But whatever that is, right? Now it's YRG has that perception over, but now that person who we have a perception is doing like SNL comedy bits with Rage right now. Right. That's hilarious, exactly. Right? So like that to me, like that's how it works. And each one of those girls brings a different thing like that. To the table, and it's all about how you frame it and highlight it. So to me, it is really special to get to work with Maya and the rest of them. But I feel like that's a really good example of how that I think was intentionally in my mind wanted it to work, and how I think a good example of that, how it worked to perfection. You know what I'm saying? Right. What creators would you like to like create direct for like a month? Just a month. I want to say this earlier, but like, okay, we've seen Kai obviously have on LeBron and all these crazy celebrities, and Marathon 3 is electric and speed. I mean, he's just a phenom traveling across the country. Bro. He's an incredible talent. Think, bro, like 95% of what streaming could be is untapped. Yeah, even when doing that crazy stuff. But I saw you make a video about Deshae, because Deshae acted before. Yes. He's talented too. He's literally been on shows. Deshae's incredible, bro. I can't wait to have him in some stuff. We're gonna have him soon come through, and I'm excited about him because I think a lot of chat gets confused that I be writing these scripts all the time for him, but there's only like 3 or 4 things I've ever really truly scripted. You know, and I feel like the night shift, if you know what that is, with Rage, where we did basically a movie on stream. I do remember that. With Wake Wilder and Seer. You know, we're gonna do eventually a night shift too, and one of my hopes is to have Deshae in it. You know, and so I feel like he's a special talent, man. I think oftentimes he gets a bad rap sometimes for the things that he be doing with the girl content and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, regardless of that, if you are really a watcher, you're really a knower of his content, you know how special and how good he is of a creator. And I feel like, yeah, if we get him in a little night shift or something, he can make some people laugh, but also I think surprise some people.
No, facts. Okay, so 9 months ago, you were part of the biggest content event of all time, Streaming University. Can you explain your experience? How
Yeah.
like far in advance did you know you was going to be there? And did y'all get to pick what y'all got to teach? Or?
Yeah, so basically, I think I'm like one of the only people. I don't know who all was invited and who had to apply, but I know a lot. I know a lot of the teachers applied. I did not apply.
Of course.
But I maybe was like, and that's not even because I didn't want to. It really was just more so like I was so at the time. I just remember like that's like a 20 like February or March or something around like 2025, where I'm like really trying to work for that org that I was telling you about, that gaming org. And I was just doing a lot of shit like that. And you know, he texts me and he go, hey, like, what's the deal? I'm not seeing your application anywhere to teach. And I said, oh yeah, that's because I didn't apply. and he said, why not? I said, well, I'm busy. You know, I've been doing this. I said, it's not because I don't want to. It's just genuinely, I'm just busy. He said, but would you do it though? And I was like, yeah, of course, bro. And so from that point on, he was like, all right, I want you to teach a class. And would it be hilarious or dumb if you and Chris did it together? And I said, no, that'd be perfect. We could teach like some acting or something. And he's like, yeah, bro, you guys do whatever you want. So we settled on kind of like an improv acting class that was going to kind of teach streamers the idea of, you know, kind of like what we talked about here with, you know, kind of pulling on more emotionally, like how actors pull, rather than thinking things of like a bits or segments in terms of a streamer versus an actor. And then the whole experience was really good. I feel like for me, Streamer University was something that I was very lucky to get to do. And I thank Kai a lot because I feel like that was a real turning point for me. And it also was, you know, I think served a greater purpose in terms of, you know, I went in looking at things a little bit differently in Streamer U, where I think, you know, a lot of people who were teachers or whatever were also just at the core of it, they're creators. Yeah. So they're looking at it as a content opportunity. And I'm more so was looking at it as like, you know, behind the scenes, like who are creators that I can work with later on in the future. Yeah. And more of like a scouting, like scouting trip for me. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, just to me, it just came around the right time and the right opportunity. And I was in the right kind of mindset. Mm-hmm. And it worked out for the best. And I hope he does a second one. I don't know if I'll be back, but I hope that he does one, because it's beyond me, beyond the people there. I think it just genuinely is such a great event because the intention and the value of helping the next generation of streamers learn something valuable. To me, that's a very good thing. So I hope he keeps doing that.
And when I tell you I was glued to the seat watching that video or watching the Stream University, bro. I mean, it's like, I'm not saying this lightly. That event changed streaming. Like, obviously, what you're able to do, obviously, that's one thing. I mean, every room had a camera. Everybody had streaming devices. Everybody had desktop. The Wi-Fi was good. And it's like all your favorite creators in one place. To do that, and he gave away streaming phones to everybody. I mean, we got
insane. I still have that phone.
That shit crazy. Bro, we got Ben the Don. We got India Love, Lala. A lot of people came out of University. And I mean, that talking about Extra Emily, after that event, like, she just went all gas and
insane,
then got nominated for Stream of the Year.
Insane, bro. She's like, so nuts.
Bro, I like relative to like, because she's just a one-man army. Yeah. Like, and she's just amazing. Okay. All right, I'll do two more. I'll pick two more. Okay. What do you think makes a successful creator? Being around Rage, AMP, Senna.
I would say the main thing is just making sure that you love what you do and that you're consistent in it. I think I have like 3 C's, right, for creators in terms of just getting things going. And it's just thinking, community, connection, consistency, right? Like how do I build my community? How do I get a connection with that community? And then how do I keep that connection consistent, right? And so for me, those things, like those 3 cores, those 3 C's are like very easy things, I think, to just put on your mantle as a streamer and just remind yourself of those things. And I think if you do, you'll be pretty successful.
Yes. And then you could tease for YRG to look forward to in like the next 6 months or to the year.
I'll say this, we got a I'll just low key, yes, I'll say, hey, it's tough because I don't want to leak something too crazy, but I want to give you something, you know what I'm saying? We'll say this, hey, if they can know what this mean, if they can have an inkling, I'm done now. Man, I'm done leaking just for the sake of leaking, right? I'm now going to leak in code. You feel what I'm saying? Right. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say to start the second quarter.
Ooh, see that soon.
The sun's going to be shining, man. That's all I'm going to say. The sun's going to be shining. And if they can figure that out, then they know what's going on. But if they don't, then they don't,
Yeah, facts. And lastly, what's in the future for you, bro? When's the next album dropping, bro?
Ooh, here in like a month. No cap. Yeah, I really just got done actually recording. I just got done with my 16th track. Woo! And I'm trying to basically narrow it down to like 5 or 8. And so, I might get up to 20, but I think 16 is, there's a lot, 16 is a lot if you want to narrow it down to 5 or 8, you got to make some cuts, bro.
Make some hard cuts.
Yes, bro. So I'm kind of going through that process right now of like, hey, like this is a better song than this song, or this song's good to work on or whatever, or hey, this song's hook is there, but the verse isn't there. Can we, get a version where something is there that makes it, hey, is it worth fighting for or not? And just going through that creative process, and then eventually we'll send it off to get mixed and mastered, and then it'll come out, bro. And I'm just estimating that would be near end of March or early April timeframe. I think so. I'm excited, bro. That's the next thing, and then I think from there, maybe sometime in the summertime, I might do a short film. But for me, a lot of it is just making sure that in my hobbies, that's what they are, is hobbies, because I do take what I do very seriously for Rage, and I never want to feel like I'm creating too much, because that is a thing. I feel like sometimes people can get in a thing where they start doing something for somebody, and then because of maybe financial security now, or just a different life or whatever, you got time for something that you didn't have before, and it just intrigues you to the point where now all of a sudden you're just doing that. And, I think there's a time for that, but it's more so like, hey, can I take some of the time now to go and just here and there, just sprinkle little things that I like to do, and then go back to, because I think it kind of in a way and those are for creatives everywhere, I think is, it's okay to be creative in other areas and kind of just get some stuff out, so that you kind of free up space up here for things that you need to bring in for whatever your job is, your main creative job is, or whatever. So, I'm gonna read this thing where it's like, I don't know, the texture, the way you do it, all these things, like it's just a mental body thing, energy thing. But they said, it's like finger painting, basically. Like finger painting is
music.
All of it. Like it's just the idea of like getting something out to make room for something else. You know what I'm saying? And like, to me, it's like, that's kind of what it is like, if I finger paint or make music or make a film or whatever, like I'm just kind of getting stuff out so that I can make space and create for stream, for Rage or for content creation and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
It's going good, and I'm excited. So yeah, hopefully the next time we talk, bro, you can let me know. You can be like, yo, that album was trash, right?
Fuck no.
Or you can say, hey, it was all right, man. I was all right. Good job.
But to close it out, this conversation was exceptional. I mean, we could talk for another 2 hours. To be
Absolutely.
honest. There's obviously more stuff to talk about, but you as a person, I mean, just the way you okay, so obviously this took us like a month to get down.
My bad.
But it's not your fault at all. I mean, the person you portray online, Aim, I knew exactly where your heart was, even though date got moved. I knew you were going to do it because the type of person you are.
Thanks.
And as far as professionally, again, you're doing an exceptional, amazing job. Rage is pivot, obviously going from Kick to Twitch. Kick has a pretty big stigma to it, and helping you kind of not even clean up its image, but to shine a light on a lot of the great traits that Rage has. You've done an excellent job of that. And you're not just, redirecting Rage in a better direction. I feel like you're painting a path and trailblazing for other creative directors that are going to come behind you. And let me just say, all the stuff y'all's done, all the stuff just since you've joined. So we got Caretakers hit, Pokemon Marathon, amazing, Emily collab, Alveus collab, Alinity collab, Bays Among Us IRL, Subathon, you hit 100K, San Diego Zoo with Maya, Girls Night, Rage and Sketch College Game, working with Alveus for a day, collab with Austin creators, so that whole team over there got nominated for Streamer Awards. Obviously, Dick, the collab, Boot Camp was amazing, Julia Kin's collab, Emiru, Senna, Maya, cosplay collab, Austin 3-day collab, the Bake Off, the Care, Orlando Shrink, and most recently the YRG American Idol. I mean, you're just putting straight belt, and y'all are putting together, honestly, a Stream of the Year campaign for sure, a reality Stream of the Year campaign. Are just chatting. You're gonna be in the Stream Awards a few times. Like Rage, you're gonna take a speech because of the great work that obviously you and Rage do together in y'all's team. But it's just a pleasure, and having somebody like you in the space is just so relieving, so refreshing, because everybody wants to be an actor, but not a lot of people can be a director, and that's another set of skills, and a lot of those skills you have, and you do it masterfully, bro. So
thank you.
Yeah, man, you're doing a fantastic job, man. It's such a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, man. And I just want to say, I've been on some podcasts, and I really like this, bro. This is a great conversation, and I feel like you're doing a great job. And
yes, sir.
Speaking of professional, that was you, bro. Had great questions, had great research. So to me, that's really like what it takes to do something with me is, I just have to see that someone is serious about something, and someone has the right intentions in mind. And for me, it was clear to see that. And so I'm glad I said yes, bro. And we got it. I know. Yeah. Like you said, it was and it's funny because chat, he's saying, oh, it's not your fault. No, it's dead my fault. Like it is dead. Like it's literally my fault. There's nobody else's fault it could be but me. I just kept forgetting. And, I got busy and things happen. And, I think that's one of the bigger things I think that I thought that I'd be ready for in terms of a change of lifestyle is like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be too busy or not going to, and it's like shit just pop up out of nowhere now.
That's a blessing, bro.
But it's hard because it's like, damn, like you really got to be on top of your schedule. So no, I really do appreciate you for keeping up, you know what I'm saying, and saying, hey man, like you told me you'd do this, you know what I'm saying. It's like, bro, you're right though, but because it's like I did want to do this, and so for me, I really do take it as a blessing, and I'm lucky to come on here and just get a chat content, because at the end of the day, man, it's just like I could be doing other things with my life. So, this is a good thing and a great blessing. And so thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. This is an exception. I mean, I feel like streamers kind of get a bad rap, but y'all are very smart and brilliant people. And I kind of want to hope to display that with this platform here, kind of peel back the layers or the curtains into why these creators are so successful. Yeah, I'm just part of it.
Hey, well, keep going, man. You're doing a fantastic job.
All right. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. And new episode will be out